NASCAR '07 action. Wednesday night edition, Busch Series, you know it, custom schedule season. 2 races remaining. Phoenix, Daytona. Still, we have a chance at the championship to try to get Jimmie Johnson his first career Xfinity title. Got to make it into Daytona with a shot at the championship first, so we have to get through tonight. If you are unaware of how the season has gone so far, pretty good up until about maybe 7 races ago now. 7 races ago, we started a string of 3 straight DNFs, which put us into a 388-point hole with, at the time, just 7 races, or not even 7 races remaining. It would have been, with 6 races remaining. 6 races remaining, we were 388 points back. We actually dropped from second in the standings to third. Before the 3-race DNF, I was only 44 points out of first. 3 straight DNFs put me to 388 points out of first, just like that. Trying to scratch and claw our way through. We won the last 4 races. We are within 188 points. Last night, the biggest points gain we could have possibly had in that stretch of the 4 races. Because the first 3, Tony Stewart finished 4th, then 3rd, then 2nd. Last night, he was running up in the top 10 for the majority of the race. Last lap, he blows an engine. And because it was the last lap and he was actually already 2 laps down due to some other circumstances in the race, I may have slowed him up at a couple different times trying to game the system. But it looked like he was going to probably finish in the 21st place position. Wasn't going to be a good day, but I was going to gain a good chunk of points on him. Gained an even bigger chunk with him losing even more spots. 19 positions lost on the last lap for him, going from 21st to 40th with that engine failure as he finished 3 laps down. So, now we're into this one, and we're hoping for another solid day. We're more than likely going to need Tony Stewart to DNF one more time in these last 2 races. If he doesn't DNF, he's probably going to have to finish very, very deep in the field in both races. So, with that being said, we still have to do our job. We have to go out here. We got to lead the most laps. We got to win. We've had a max point state 3 races in a row. We've won 4 races in a row. Tony Stewart, unfortunately, led the most laps the first of our 4-race win streak that we are on at Watkins Glen. He did not lead a lap last night. I was able to qualify on the pole, led 212 of 250 laps at Richmond, and he, again, did not lead. So we got to qualify on the pole here and try to do the same thing. It's not going to be as easy as last night, I would imagine, because Richmond by far was the quickest car we had at any track, not only all season, but it was the quickest car I probably had on any track in this game. It doesn't matter what series, what season we've done. We had the right setup, nailed it after qualifying. Hopefully I've nailed it for qualifying, and I don't have to make any adjustments going into the race. But 2 laps to try to set the quick time here for Jimmie Johnson. Can we do it?
Alright, here we go. Don't hold anything back.
Flatter racetracks seem to really work well for me, and that's why I was able to lead a bunch of laps in these last few races. Don't want to hit the curb. Of course, this is the old Phoenix layout. That curb on the dog leg of what is now the front stretch is the back stretch here, but don't want to hit it. It's very violent in these EA games. Pole, lap 1. There we go. Not even going to waste another lap. On the pole, Tony Stewart qualified 6th. So Stewart qualified 6th. We qualified on the pole. All right, let's get it going. Green flag in the air. And we are racing at Phoenix. 200 laps. We haven't raced here all season, so I'm not sure exactly what the fuel window is going to be in this Busch Series race, but we'll try to figure that out in the first half of the first fuel run. For now, hopefully we can pull away, but at the very least, at least lead some laps. And we got the first one in the books. 1 down, 199 to go. Appreciate everybody tuning in here to the early going. Again, if you are just tuning in for the first time and are wondering how this week has gone in the season championship, if you go back to Saturday night, we ended up winning at Watkins Glen. Or 2 Saturday nights ago. Saturday night, not this week, but the weekend before, we won at Watkins Glen. Follow that up with a win at New Hampshire, led the most laps. Win at Bristol, led the most laps. The New Hampshire race would have been this last Saturday. Saturday before that was Watkins Glen. Then we ran Monday, Bristol. Tuesday, last night, we ended up running at Richmond. Led the most laps there. So 3 straight max points days, 4 straight wins. We have gone from 388 points back to 186. But 2 races to go. So still going to have to really gut out a good performance yet again. And hope for a lot of help again. Tony Stewart blew an engine on the last lap of the race yesterday. That could be the difference in us having a chance at the championship at Daytona tomorrow night and not. He lost 19 positions on the final lap with the engine failure. He would have finished 21st based off of the calculations of where he was running from where we saw him about 10 laps before that, putting him a second lap down. I'm glad he didn't qualify in the front couple positions and he doesn't have to contest with trying to lead a lap early. Johnson looks to have a quick car, definitely not pulling away, immensely from the start here, just like I did at Richmond last night, but we might have another solid race car. I've led over 180 laps 3 races in a row. Tonight's going to be a little harder because it's only a 200 lap race, but you never know. One car has blown up already. I swear, if it's Tony Stewart, please. Somebody has blown up in the early laps. Caution is it's Hornaday. It was the wrong 33. Oh my gosh. Caution's out deep in the field. JJ Yaley, oh my goodness, big wreck. Yaley gets clocked from behind getting into turn 3. I think they were slowing. I don't know what they slowed up for. Heinz Good was slow in front of him. Yaley checked up and got slammed from behind. So early laps, we got a caution. And I'm going to stay out because we're like super early. What was that, lap 3 or 4? That's the earliest we've seen a yellow in a while. Restart at lap 10. I guess we were at lap 7 already? I didn't think we were that far, but yeah, lap 7. And Jimmy Johnson leads the way on the restart, single file, of course. We had 4 cautions at Richmond yesterday. One, obviously, in the very beginning of this race. The first yellow of 4 at Richmond yesterday came at lap 37. I saw the 33, and I thought it was Tony Stewart, but it was Ron Hornaday. It was the wrong 33 car. I mean, what are the odds? For one, if this wasn't a video game, there wouldn't be 2 33 cars. It was the wrong 33 car. I mean, that would have been the miracle of all miracles right there if Tony Stewart blew an engine again. He still can. We still got a long ways to go. He didn't blow one yesterday till the last lap. No clue where he's running right now. It actually looks like he's in 4th. I think he's picked up a few spots. Started 6th. I'm not going to go out and say we have the fastest car yet. At least short run, it seems to be that way. Of those that qualified at the front of the field. Like, Tony Stewart can be super quick. He just qualified 6th. Like, he could get up here and then end up contending with me. Kyle Busch has been a contender in a lot of races this season. He sits 3rd in points, and he's nowhere to be found, too. So we had a caution in turn 3 at lap 7. Our first yellow. For Tony Stewart to clinch the championship tonight, he would have to finish 3rd place or better. If he finishes in 4th with a lap led, that would also count because he would get 5 bonus points. So for us to have a chance going into Daytona mathematically, Tony Stewart has to finish in 4th place with no laps led. Because the most points you can gain in a single race is 156. And we have the tiebreaker, so that would put us 156 ahead of Stewart. Got to beat him by at least 30 points tonight. Which I've only done that once in the last 4 races we've ran. in our 4-race win streak, which was last night when he blew a motor. So it's not going to be easy, and he's already running 4th right now, so all we can do is hope we stay alive. We got another slow car. 2 engine failures already. Somebody's getting into the dog leg as we speak. I'm definitely going to have to watch him. Might cause another stack up this time by. And couldn't tell exactly who it was. It was a fantasy driver of some sort. So fantasy driver holding some cars up. 2 engine failures early on. 17 laps in. We only had 3 in the entirety of the last 2 races. On pace to have well more than that many DNFs here today. Quick shout outs to those of you that are tuned in right now, by the way. Mark DeMars, Wade Selensky, Uncle Plane Guy, number 5 NASCAR fan, Michael Turner, Derek Booth, Bentley Potts. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Going to Indy, I'll have my answer Friday, but I'm probably leaning towards no for Sunday. Advise me not to use driver swaps? Trust me, I got something in my back pocket. You just gotta trust me on this. Hopefully I don't have to resort to it, but you'll find out when the time comes. I gotta wait for a strategic point to use the driver swap today. Right now, just worried about trying to run this out. Not sure how long the fuel run's gonna be here at Phoenix. Yeah. Obviously, with an early caution, saved a little bit of gas. Could happen again. Jimmy Johnson maintaining his lead up at the front of the field. Pretty good lap times. Last lap was pretty close to about what my qualifying time was. I ran a little bit quicker than that a couple different laps already. There it is. Fastest lap of the race that last time by. Just keeping those low exits, it really works on these shorter tracks. Obviously, if you have a car that's capable of handling that well. I didn't have to make any adjustments from qualifying to the race tonight like I did at Richmond. I felt pretty good that one lap of qualifying. Here we are in the race. Led all 23 laps from the pole. Alan Barkley, thanks for tuning in also. Already at 15 likes on the stream. Appreciate that also. Already only 5 short of most likes we would have had on a NASCAR 07 stream this week, which was 20, so definitely looking like we can get there tonight. Well, I mean, if it happens again, it just wasn't meant to be. I know I've blown an engine once before with the driver swap. I mean, it literally has only happened once. So we've done a full truck season, part of a cup season, almost a full Busch season. You know, if it happens again, it just wasn't meant to be. We're already in a gigantic deficit as it is. Being a 1 mile track versus last night a 3/4 mile track took me about 30 plus laps to get into lap traffic. Definitely going to be a lot longer today, and that was with as fast of a car as we had in yesterday's race. Obviously tonight got a quick car, but nowhere near as quick as yesterday, so have to keep that in mind in case anything comes to plan here. Definitely wouldn't be able to use that tactic I used last night towards the end of the race on Stewart, trying to hold him back on a late race restart. Another fastest lap of the day, tied the best lap of the race. At .749 again. Kind of clipped the curb a little bit that time. It was the first time. It actually didn't jolt me up the racetrack like it usually would. Maybe it's not as violent on NASCAR 07 for some reason. Oh, wow. 27.716 that time. Picked up 3/10 from the lap before. 300s, excuse me, not 3/10. Three to four stops, it's going to be a lot less than that. It's going to be 1 or 2. If we can make it to lap 50 before we get to halfway out of gas, it'll be a one step. Well, we'd have to go a little bit past that because we did have an early caution. Probably have to go to about lap 53 then. Try to stretch this thing on one lap or one stop. It's going to be tough for that. See, our first caution last night made it a pretty easy 2-stop race, but this first caution came on lap 7, so it was just way too early. It would have made no sense to pit at that point. .8-second difference. Tony Stewart should be a rival of us still, so if we do end up having to race with him at any point in time tonight, he'd probably try to hit us again. Still can't believe the 33 car blew an engine. It wasn't him, and it was Ron Hornaday instead. The wrong 33 car blew an engine. Literally on, like, what was that, like the 3rd lap of the race? Oh, that would have been so huge. That would have taken so much pressure off of me the rest of the night. Could have just ran my own race. Now I still just got to have the points in the back of my mind for what I may have to attempt later. I don't really know what would be better for us here, to see cautions or not see cautions. I'd definitely like to make this first run a little bit longer. I really want to get a gauge for how far we can go on fuel at least before we get another yellow, just to keep that in my head, at least so I know, because I don't know right now. We're getting very close to lap 40. It's at least a two-stopper. Matthew Dorter Bruno, thanks for tuning in. A lot of clean air, clean traffic out ahead of Jimmy Johnson still. Just over a 2-second lead. Lap 39. Very good chance we're going to eclipse the 1,500 lap lead mark this season. Had to lead a little less than 70 laps to get to that number here today. And I don't know how many I'm going to end up leading at Daytona. Probably not many. So, should hit that number today. And who knows, maybe get to 1,600. Pace we're setting right now, it could be doable. I'd have to lead about 170, 180 laps, but it's not impossible. Right around 170 I would have to lead to get to that number. The season total. Whatever the fuel is, halfway, subtract 3. Yep. And we're at lap 43 right now. Still haven't hit halfway out of gas at this point. Right as I say something. Halfway out of gas, lap 43. So it's definitely going to be a two-stop race. It's not even going to be close to be able to save. We're looking to be about 10 laps short on both sides. So 20 laps short to make it to halfway, then another 20 on the other side, so yeah. Or after the pit stop. So essentially we're 40 laps short of being able to make this race on one stop, so it's definitely going to be a two-stopper. Two-stop race, so we know if we get another caution, we're definitely going to pit. I would imagine the entire field's going to pit also. Because all we would have had to do was make it past lap 40 to get in the window to be able to pit now and make it on one more. So, definitely in the window here. Caution comes out. Everybody should end up hitting pit road for their first of 2 stops. Yeah, I'm fine with it staying green. I'm really hoping I don't have to get into lap traffic. The more cars that stay on the lead lap, that's the further back Tony Stewart could potentially finish tonight. That's the way I look at it. So I'm fine with keeping it green right now. You know, just log some laps in. But the minute I start to get close to lap traffic, that's where I'm going to kind of hope that we get a caution at some point. Almost a quarter of the way through this race already. .698 that last lap. First 27.6 we've ran in the race. So another fastest lap. I just can't get over how much grip this car has 2 nights in a row. It doesn't have the same top end speed I had at Richmond, but through the corners, it just feels so smooth. Like I'm able to enter low, carry a lot of speed in the middle, and not push. And it just stays gripped up on the bottom. And I've hit the curb twice, and it hasn't thrown my car up the racetrack now, so. Doing good. Hopefully you're doing good too. We're racing. It's always good when there's racing on. Even if it's virtual, but not real. Fans are like, can we see a new winner? Hey, I might have the most wins by a lot this season, but I'm still not the points leader, so. They should be hoping I win so we can actually have a tight points battle. It's just insane if we end up winning 5 races in a row, though. I definitely have the best car in the field again. It's not light years ahead of everybody like at Richmond, but it's a good car. It's a race-winning car. But at least it should be easy to stay on top of strategy knowing it's a 2-stop race. Shouldn't throw us off too much. It's really hard to get off strategy on these shorter races, though, too. The Busch and the Truck Series, because every race is pretty much 2 or 3 stops at the most. Except for Dega, because it's kind of glitchy in this game where we have to pit every 20 laps there, but when it's not glitchy, like Daytona is going to be 2 stops. It's only 100 laps. All we have to do, 35, 35, 30. So Daytona is definitely going to be a bit of a weird one. I was really hoping it was going to be the 120 lap race, and I was wrong. It's only 100, so I kind of wish we had those extra 20 laps. Just having the race that much shorter in a do or die situation, I don't like that. That is not a long race. Got to make it through tonight first, though, or it doesn't matter. Not that far away from lap traffic. Alternate strategy 70, 70, 70, well, yeah, 70, 70, 60 to the end. I mean, I know I could do that, but I don't want a short pit. We really got to lead as many laps as we can. I got to focus on making sure I can get 10 bonus points here first. So, lead the most laps because I really don't want Stewart to lead any. So I'm going to want to stay out of the pits as long as I can just in case, because we really have no clue where he's running right now. He was in 4th before I really started to get away from 2nd place. Since like lap 15, lap 20, I have no clue where he's running. He could be 8th. He could be 2nd. We don't know. Also, thanks for tuning in to Ethan. Yeah, definitely got to win. Got to win, got to lead the most laps. Especially when I know I have a car capable of doing that. That's one thing. Like, we go to Daytona, I know I'm not going to have the fastest car. And the only reason I'm even saying that is because we've raced at Daytona twice on this season already, and I finished outside the top 30 both times. Now, the last time I was there, I ran a good race until I got off strategy on accident, and that put me back in traffic at the end because I knew I was going to have to pit the final 10 laps for fuel. I just couldn't make it to the end. You're not here? saying you're not here, but you're here. All right, well, 60 laps in. I thought he was going to throw it in off the curb there for a second. That was close. Well, first lapper of the day. 118 going to go lap down. I'm surprised I had that much grip on the apron. It was a bit of a risk. I didn't know if I was going to push tight right into him or not. I actually ran my fastest lap, even with passing him. The thing that's going to worry me is we get like later and later in this race because it's going by quickly. And as much as I kind of wanted to, just because of the situation that we're leading, we've led every lap so far. You would think that's a good thing, but we kind of need cautions, and we need Tony Stewart to have a really, really bad day. Whether that be by DNF, a natural finish. Oh man, I got pinched. I was on the curb and he just didn't give me enough room to exit off of it. A lot of contact with the lap car there. Try to get him in turns 1 and 2 this time. I'm glad the curb didn't throw me again. I mean, this is like the 3rd time I've hit it, and it hasn't really thrown me up the track. I mean, I bobbled a little bit there, but he was also holding me like right on top of it. I couldn't run above it if I wanted to. Oh, near trouble there. Got some smoke. Somebody got the wall off turn 4 that last time, but no caution. Man, a lot of these lap cars are just really holding me tight. Frank T92, thanks for tuning in. 3rd of the way home. Lap 67 of 200. And again, 1 caution all the way back at lap 7 if you're just tuning in. First time we've hit lap traffic in the race. Got into it around 10 or so laps ago. Another fast lap, 27.669. Last time. See what I mean? Like, look at how I'm stuck on him. I couldn't get off of him. I was really trying. A lot of contact again. They hold me so tight down on the bottom of the racetrack. Not giving me enough room. Still doing the ticket thing with the Fantasy Live League? Oh yeah. And I know you're in the running. Assuming that you're Frank T26 on the Fantasy League. Another fastest lap. 27.667. Iceman, thanks for tuning in. Hope Tony Stewart has some. I'm really hoping too. This would be 2 races in a row if he did it. He did on the last lap last night. I kid you not. I was coming off of turn 2. He was on the backstretch. I was able to lap him in extra time. He was up in smoke. It was the last lap of the race. So, I mean, you just never know what could happen. If he didn't do that, I'd probably be eliminated from championship contention after tonight, but it gives us a chance. I don't like how this lap traffic is just not giving me any room. Look at this. Like, almost all 4 below the yellow line. That guy did not. He didn't even give me a half a lane. Still made a clean pass. We are getting close to our first pit stop. Again, this is a 2-stop race. And with the caution at lap 7, obviously nobody pitted then, because it was way too early. We are definitely getting to the end of the line here to get into pit stops. I really hope I'm not one of the first cars to pit. It'd be close as to whether or not I'd be able to stay on the lead lap. Got about a 6.8 second lead. Lap 78. Now I'll go a little. I can go a little past lap 80. I think I can make it 80 without any caution laps. And we had a caution already, so. I'm going to try to go to lap 83 or so. That's what I'm looking at right now, at least. Oh boy. Oh, tightly on the curb. That time the curb threw me. With contact with Jeff Burton. Get by Casey Mears also. Thoughts on Ryan Preece? If there's any news regarding Ryan Preece today, I didn't see it, so is it just like in general, or was there a news situation that I didn't hear of yet? Has he landed a home for next season? I just shot that car right into Paul Menard. And now we're 3 wide in the dogleg. And I got a lot of the curb, and it threw me, but I luckily didn't make contact with anybody. I don't know how I didn't. That front end did not bite to the asphalt whatsoever. No news? Okay. I was going to say, the way he said that in the chat, I was like, did he like land a ride or something? I don't know. I don't see really any value in Preece Cup Series wise. He hasn't amounted to really anything. He's been the last driver at SHR every year he's been there. And even before that, when he was at JTG Doherty Racing, he never really did anything there. Like, even Stenhouse was outrunning him, like, on a weekly basis, which at that time, it was Preece's first year or two full-time in the Cup Series. So, you know, a rookie Ryan Preece, second-year driver Ryan Preece in the Cup Series versus Stenhouse, who at least had a lot of Cup experience at that point, probably should be outrunning him. But I never really saw anything that's like, he could be good if you get him in great equipment one day. Like, you haven't seen that. And even the lower series at JGR, while he would win from time to time, he wasn't going out there nowhere near like a Ty Gibbs winning a bunch. And even Chandler Smith has been so good, you know, from at least a competitive standpoint. He's only won a couple races this season with JGR Xfinity Series, but yeah, I don't know. He's a great modified driver. You know, when he did run the part-time season in trucks, I thought he did really good. So he's definitely above caliber to do that, I mean, he might end up being a career Xfinity driver. There's really nothing wrong with that. I think he could compete for a championship in the Xfinity Series. I don't think he's going to necessarily set the world on fire down there, but he'll win a few races a season. He'll keep you in championship contention there and good equipment. But, yeah, Cup Series, I just don't see it. And that's not just the next-gen car. Like I mentioned, I mean, I didn't see any of that really before then. All right, probably looking at pitting this time by. We'll get to lap 83 at the line. Got an 8.9 second lead. Nobody has hit pit road yet. So it looks like we are going to be the first one down. Four tires, Sunoco race fuel. Not going to push it again. Almost missed the pits. That would have been bad. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize how narrow the pit road entry was. All right, 4 tires and gas. First one in. Couple donuts on the right side of the car. Ain't too bad. We'll buff those scratches out real quick while we're down here. See? All's good. Got to stay on the lead lap. It's going to be close. Mark Martin's like right there. Is he above us? Yep, there he goes. Oh, I really want to get by him. We got fresh tires. There we go. That was close. I knew it was going to be tight. We didn't have a massive lead. Tony Stewart's right behind him, too. You've got to be kidding me. So Tony Stewart might lead a lap out of this. Stewart is in second place currently. He would have been third before I pitted. Luckily, we're still in the lead lap if we were to get a caution. I really want a caution right now, honestly. We need a caution while I'm on the lead lap. I'll cycle back to the lead. Because Tony Stewart, like, there's a lot of cars on the lead lap. This guy might try to take a swing at me. We got to be careful here. Nope. I was either too fast for him to think about doing it, or he wasn't mad enough. Maybe a little bit of both. Whoa! Is he trying to pit? I can't tell. No, I don't think so. I couldn't tell if that guy was trying to pit or not. He ran so low the whole corner. He just hit me while I was on the apron. These lap cars have no regard if you're underneath them here. It's been like that all night. Thank goodness I qualified on the pole. I didn't have to fight through traffic or something. Imagine if I started at the tail. It would have been a shit show. NASCAR 21 Ignition, NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode Series. I already did for both games. NASCAR 21 I didn't get to finish, but the game... Okay, we got some cars pitting. I wasn't sure if this guy was going to pit or not. Ryan Vickers on pit road. So they were able to go a little further than me, but if they don't make it to lap 100, it's going to be a two-stop race for everybody regardless. Mark Martin's still in the lead. That's good. We really don't need Tony Stewart to lead a lap. I'm just praying that Tony Stewart pits before Mark Martin. Please. Kyle Busch still out in the track. Martin's still out. Mark Martin's on his way in. Oh, Tony Stewart stayed out. Dang it. I was afraid of that. All those laps led, and he still ends up leading. There was nothing I could have done there. Fudge, man. Well, now he's got to finish 5th or worse. He's going to have to finish 5th or worse for me to have a chance at the title going into Daytona. After getting up to speed. Get by him. Top 4 cars still have in pit. Now we needed to cycle all the way through because there's not many cars on the lead lap, and Tony Stewart's one of them. He's still staying out on the track. He's on the 94th lap right now. How is he able to go that far? I literally pitted 11 laps before this. I maybe could have went another lap or two. I just didn't want to risk it, but still, I mean, he's going way longer than I could have. Kyle Busch is on pit road currently. And Stewart's pitting this time. Kenny Wall's going to stay out and lead a lap. Be the 4th different leader of the race. So Martin, Stewart, Kenny Wallace, and obviously Jimmy Johnson's led the most. Tony Stewart's going to have to finish 5th or worse tonight for us to have a chance at the championship at Daytona. You're talking about the Indy question. Somebody else asked that earlier tonight. I'm still not sure. I'm not gonna have my answer until Friday. Leaning towards no, but it's not impossible. Like, there's still a chance I could go. Kenny Wallace is on pit road. He almost made it to lap 100, coming to lap 98 when he ended up making his stop. So Jimmy Johnson going to take over the race lead for right now. He's in the lead before the stop started. Qualified on the pole, of course. And it'll be an official lead change at the line. So 4 lead changes, just ran our fastest lap. 27.664 that last time by. And we're almost halfway. And unfortunately, again, Tony Stewart did lead during green flag pit stops, led a few laps. Yeah, I don't plan on doing another one. No bueno. NASCAR 08 for sure, yeah. I do want more that I have to do with NASCAR 07 when this and the Mark Martin season are done. Aaron Crocker's been holding on for a while, trying to stay in the lead lap. Johnson slips to the inside. Little contact. Jimmy should stay underneath and make the pass of 1 and 2 here. She's going to give Jimmy a lot more room that time. So now Aaron Crocker's first car lap down. So this is going to sound ridiculous. But if I get a big enough lead and we get into that final fuel run, I'm going to short pit. Just in case we get a caution. But I should be able to stay on the lead lap because we need a lot more cars on the lead lap if we're going to get a yellow for Tony Stewart to finish pretty deep in the field. Because there are not many cars on the lead lap with this thing going without a yellow for almost 100 laps now. Before pit stops, I mean, there were only 35 cars in the lead lap back to where Martin was. Obviously, a lot less than that now with us having over a 10-second lead. I had a 9-second lead and still came out in front of the 6 with a 4-tire stop before that. We're 14.8 seconds ahead now. I pitted like a dozen laps before some of the last drivers that pitted, so we definitely were able to gain a lot more time on the fresh tires. Well, they were on older tires for quite some time. Judo the Goober and Noah Hall, thanks for tuning in. Use a strategy to block Stewart. Yeah, no, that is going to be the plan. I haven't used the field pass yet. The only problem is I don't know where Kyle Busch and Brian Vickers are at in correlation to Tony Stewart. But yeah, there's a couple things I have up my sleeve here for this final 100 laps or so. Try to get back into this hunt one way or another. When am I going to go back to Mark Martin series? As soon as this season's done. So next week. Or tomorrow, depending on if I get eliminated from championship contention tonight. I'd like to think I'm not going to get eliminated from championship contention tonight. I know he's in the top 3 right now, and he only has to finish 5th tonight to win the championship. But I will make sure that doesn't happen at the very least, but I can't assure how far back in the field he's actually going to finish. Should end up clinching the most lap sled. We got another slow car. Just noticed on the track map. I keep glancing up there from time to time, just so you never know. Tony Stewart! Stewart has blown a motor for the 2nd race in a row. It's like Christmas all over again. Tony Stewart has blown an engine with 90 laps to go at Phoenix 2 nights in a row. In the second half of a race where he was running top 10 for most of it. Tonight he was in 3rd. Oh, and we nearly got a wreck in the dogleg. Look out. Well, now I'm not short pitting. No sense of me short pitting anymore. Are you kidding? Gosh. Oh, boy. We get a max points day, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be less than 50 points back with 1 race to go. And the next race is Daytona tomorrow night. We got to seal the deal here. We still got 77 laps left for this thing to go off the rails, but did my math wrong there. 87 laps left. Got ahead of myself. First, it was the 33 car in the first couple laps, and I got my hopes up. It was the wrong 33. That time, it was the right 33. Tony Stewart is out. A lot of contact with Ryan Newman. And Johnson has just clinched the most laps led. 10 bonus points for Jimmy. A win would be a max points day for the 4th race in a row, as he tries to go for 5 wins in a row. 388 points back before this 5-race win streak if we win tonight. I mean, that is unbelievable. I mean, this is going to be... If we could somehow pull this thing off at Daytona tomorrow night, this is going to be... Oh, I'm going to do a field pass still. I'm still doing it. I'm just going to get it over with now, honestly. It's only for a couple laps at a time. Get it done before the final stop. Kyle Busch sits in 3rd. I wonder how many points Busch is... You know what? It's going to be close. Kyle Busch might have a chance at the championship still. He's got Mark Martin right in front of him. If he finishes 2nd and he leads a lap, which could happen during green flag pit stops. Here's the pass for 2nd through the dog leg. So Busch is up to P2. Yeah, it's going to be really close on if he's going to be able to get it done or not. How many back was he coming into the night? 305? I think Tony Stewart's going to finish 41st. It's going to be really close. I think Busch would have to win, though. That's the thing. Like, he'd have to lead a lap and he'd have to win with Stewart finishing 41st, I think. Could be wrong. Hicker's a lap down here. Getting back on the lead lap. Wow, I've lapped a ton of cars. Newman's in 6th. Only 5 cars on the lead lap. One of them would have been Tony Stewart, but he blew an engine. For the 2nd race in a row. Pass for 6 made. $80 laps to go. Fuel window is right on the edge right now, but we should be good. So if a caution were to come out, I would imagine everybody will pit. We'd be the closest to not making it, but I'd imagine everybody would make it. Caution is out. Oh boy. Well, I just mentioned we are right at the edge of the pit window. This is going to be close. Vickers just got his lap back for the yellow came out, so that's big for him. Spin in turn 2. It was not even a... Well, that... Okay. Questionable caution. He saved it, but he did get clobbered in the left side after the fact, so maybe a yellow was an okay thing there. Caution flag is out. I mean, everybody's going to pit. And again, Jimmy Johnson's going to be the closest on gas. And it's going to be extremely close for him, too. But this would be the final stop. That is one thing we didn't need there. We did not need a caution at that time. If we would have went like 10 more laps, I would have been okay with it, but... Or even 5 more, but... It is going to be a tight fuel window to the end of this race. And we got to make it because we got to win. Tony Stewart blew up. I mean, technically, I'd just have to finish like top 30 and we'd still have a chance at the title at Daytona, but I don't think I'm winning the championship, though. There ain't no way he's DNFing 3 races in a row like I did. I think Johnson just won the race off pit rows. That's good, but... Oh, no, he didn't. It might have been Busch then. I saw Lowe's car up there. Well, that's the lap lead Kyle Busch needed if he won the race out of the pits. Yeah, it was Busch. Had the wrong Lowe's car. Might be able to get Vickers to the lead here, too. Double file restart with a ton of lap cars on the bottom. Big overdrive getting into turn 1. Johnson cooked it into the corner. Just shot the 163 in there. Stalled everybody else out. Just drive right underneath him. There we go. Elliott Sadler leads. Busch would have led under the caution even if he didn't lead the green flag lap. Johnson flying on this restart. Johnson clear of Sad. Well, not clear, but he does lead the lap off turn 4. Fastest lap of the race for the 48. 27.631. And now Johnson's clear off turn 2 to the lead. Kyle Busch should get to second. .71 laps left. I think I'm pushing my luck. But we've only ever blown an engine once doing that. Still want to see if it is possible for Kyle Busch to get the... If he finishes second, right where he's running, I think with him leading on that restart with winning the race off pit road, I think there might be a chance he could still win the title at Daytona as well. So it could be a 3-horse race for the championship. 2 much closer than the others, but... Busch definitely has a quick car. We haven't really seen him up in this position before, but he's obviously here now. Like, I'm pulling away from everybody, but Kyle Busch is also pulling away from the rest of the field too. 27.548. First 27.5 of the race. Johnson running his fastest laps, but Busch has some speed. Wow, 27.4 that time. 27.437. I picked up a 10th, like 2 consecutive laps. 2 tenths quicker than our third fastest time of the race from a few laps ago. Another 27.4. One second lead here for Jimmy Johnson. Largest lead of the day was almost 15 seconds for this 48 car. I think this field pass is all right too, because we are really, really close on fuel to the end. I know Johnson runs a slightly slower pace when I'm not driving as him. He can't get as much out of his car or something. Might be able to save just that little bit extra we may need. In the process, Kyle Busch may get to the lead here, but that's all right. Long time to go yet. 61 laps. Vickers in 5th. We might get a 1-2-3 finish. I don't think that's happened all season. Get the Hendrick sweep tonight. Only 3 of them in the Busch series. Kenny Wallace is a spot. I'm not sure who the other... Sadler would be the other lead lap car. He's up there a little bit. I'm not going to be able to get to him yet. 60 to go. I think I can get by Kenny, though. Almost gets to the bottom of the lappers. Vickers underneath, 3 wide. The back stretch. Vickers is 1 spot away from making this a 1-2-3 finish here tonight. We will run as Jimmy Johnson the rest of the way. About a half a second behind Busch. Busch going to try to block the bottom. Big bounce off the curb. Oh boy, that got tight. But Johnson slide underneath him cleanly. 48 to the lead again. And it may be the last time. I hope. I hope it's the last time we have to pass him. I really hope Vickers gets into 3rd. There'd just be a poetic way that this race could have gone. 1-2-3 finish. And there's a chance that Johnson and Busch could have a chance at the title at Daytona still. Saying if you think about it, I had 3 DNFs in a row that put me in a hole. Tony Stewart has 2 of them back to back a few races later and gets us almost right back to even again with 1 race to go. Not going to be quite even. I mean, he's a top 5 finish at Daytona away from winning the championship still, so it's not by any means. I mean, we're still going to be the one in the deficit at Daytona. I don't know what I'm gonna do whatever I can setup wise to try to help myself for that race, but there's not a lot you can do with the setup on the super speedways on these EA games because you can't adjust the downforce at all with it being a restrictor plate race. So I mean, you could mess with the suspension, but that's only gonna do so much. Air pressure, that's literally all you can do. Gear ratios aren't gonna matter because you're not shifting. $50 laps left at the line. By the way, out of the voting poll, everybody in the chat voted for 151 plus laps led. That's the leading vote right now. It's going to be close, but I think we can lead more than that. Johnson's led over 100 laps today, so we have eclipsed that 1,500 lap lead mark on the season. .1 average finish coming into the day. This could be the 16th win of the year. That would knock it below a 10 place average finish. Would a race win again? It's been going down 2 to 3 ticks every win I've had the last few, winning the 4 races in a row. Was at like an 11 point something before the streak started. It's coming down. We'll get it into the single digits. Really, a 2nd or 3rd place finish would probably get it to single digits tonight. But we're going for blowout. We're going for the win here. 5 in a row. We knew what we had to do. I mean, I am fortunate that when I set the custom schedule up, I set it up. And I was thankful enough. And I didn't know this because, again, this is our first Busch Series season on this game, that these would be my better tracks. But it has turned out that these are my better tracks. This is definitely the best races we've had. I mean, literally the last 3 races, most laps I've led in a single race all season. All 3 of them with the win. This would be 4. So it'd be the 4 top laps led in a single race on the year in the last 4 races. And Watkins Glen, we won. We didn't lead many laps, but we did win that one. So, I mean, it's... Well, we didn't even race at Richmond or Phoenix at all earlier in the season, so I really didn't know exactly how much speed I was going to have here, as well as last night, too. But yeah, 2-car getaway from the field. We get a late race restart in here. I really think Kyle Busch could have something for us on a couple lap shootout. We're quicker than him, but not by much. It's the first time, again, we've really seen him in this situation, you know, with track position, to be in this position to try to pounce. That last caution bunched the field up. Good pit stop by his crew. They won the race off pit road, and here they are in second, only a second off the lead when everybody else is probably 4 or 5 plus seconds back. Remember when Johnson had that 15-second lead earlier, Kyle Busch wasn't the second place car. It hadn't been the whole night, so. Well, we are pulling away from him. It ain't by much on a lap by lap. All right in lap traffic. It has been difficult to the extent that they do pinch me down quite a bit, but I feel like the car has been handling well enough still, even in traffic, that I am still able to make those passes on a decent pace. You know, some passes a little harder than others, but for the most part, I'm getting by them pretty quickly. Yeah, honestly, the way the first caution came out all the way back yellows, I was honestly expecting us to have more than that today. But all of a sudden, we're going to be down to 40 laps to go. This time, we've only had 2 cautions. 2 less than last night's race. And who knows how Daytona's going to go. And it's only 100 laps. I'm going to have to fight for track position as much as I can in that one. You know, I'll do what I can to try to manipulate it. Because I know I'm not going to have race-winning speed, so that's what stinks. And we need to go out there. We need to do what we've done the last few days and win, you know. So, at the end of the day, that's what I'm going to have to try to do. But I also got to think, if Tony Stewart is not having a good day, I don't have to go out there and win the race. In that situation. You know, he gets back in traffic. It's only 100 laps. There's only 2 pit stops. We get a pit stop under caution. He loses a ton of track position. And we're up in the top 10. I just got to find a way to stay there. I have a hard time in the super speedways in this game staying in the draft. Not really in the game. It's mainly just the Busch series. Like the truck and the Cup series, I feel like I'm fine. But the Busch series, for some reason, really have a hard time staying in the draft. I can for, you know, laps upon laps, and then it just like cliffs out of nowhere. And then I can't draft behind anybody. And then there will be moments where it's like too easy. It's like, how was I losing the draft before? And then it goes right back. So it is a fine line. If he DNFs, I just need to make sure I bring it home in one piece at that point, because we'd only have to beat him by like 4 or 5 positions. So, I mean, like, assuming the points lead's around 40, if it's around 50, now granted, the points per position is a lot less than you get outside the top 20, so, actually, you get outside the top 10, I think it's only 3 points per position. So, if he, like, DNF'd again, we'd probably still have to finish top 30 or so. Which I hadn't the first 2 races at Daytona, so I'm going to have to do whatever I can to just try to stay in the top half of the field. And then we'll obviously already be ahead of Kyle Busch, so as long as he doesn't beat us by a ton. Which Kyle Busch did win at Daytona in the season opener. So if he has a shot at the title, I mean, you can't count him out if Stewart did DNF 3 times in a row and Busch goes out and wins it. Because he had one there before. And Stewart DNF'd on the last super speedway we were at too, Talladega. He blew a motor in that race. One of his 3 DNFs. His other 2 were last night and tonight, so. I mean, yeah, it could happen. I'm so giddy for tomorrow night. I mean, it is going to be a wild one. Okay, I think we're going to be okay on fuel. I actually kind of forgot about this potentially being a fuel mileage race. I think we were able to save enough early in the run. We haven't had a caution since the last restart. Went green with about 77, 78 laps to go, somewhere around there. We made it 80 laps when you exclude the caution laps earlier, 83 with 3 caution laps, so we should make it 77 to 78 laps, you would think. $12 on backs, 3 points. Okay, got you. There's somewhere around there. And we'll have to see exactly how far we are back tonight. I think Stewart was the 3rd driver to DNF, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Because I don't know if anybody DNF'd from the first 2 cautions we did see tonight, too. Especially that first one. That first one, there were a couple hard hits in there. Big wad up going into turn 3. .29 laps left at Phoenix for Jimmy Johnson. If you really think about it, though, these are like the two best drivers from this era of NASCAR. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson. Stewart, who was the 05 champion, Johnson, the 06 champion on this NASCAR 07 game, which is really the 2006 season when this game came out and took place in. So got the defending champion and the champion of that year going for this Xfinity/Busch Series title. So NASCAR Penske Cup Racing, thanks for tuning in. 27 to go for Johnson. The fact that Tony Stewart could have clinched the championship last night if he finished top 4, and tonight if he finished top 5, and the fact that he DNF'd both times, and it is literally still just giving us a chance, is just insane. Oh my gosh. All I wanted was a chance. We're going to have a chance. I'm not going to say it's like a good chance, because again, we're still going to be in a deficit, but it's possible. It went from pretty much like going into Richmond last night, I didn't think I had any chance at the championship. Anyway, I was just hoping to get out of Richmond with a decent points day, that maybe in the hopes that he has a bad night tonight, that at least I'd have a shot going into Daytona, like a situation where he finishes outside the top 30, I win the race, I win the title, like one of those situations. But I wasn't expecting like an all-out, like, he finishes more than a few positions behind us, we're going to win the title situation. Like, I was not expecting anywhere close to that, being within that kind of striking distance going into the final race. It wouldn't just be back-to-back, it'd be back-to-back to back-to-back-to-back, because it'd be 5 wins in a row in the Busch Series. Now, if it was a Cup Series, it'd be a record, but it's the Busch Series. Races are a little shorter, and we are a Cup regular, so it might make it a little easier considering the competition in the field. But for what it's worth, though, we had to perform, and we're performing. In fact, I'm able to lead all these laps I have the last handful of races, too. Here we go. Oh boy. Full contact, we're good. Really want this to stay green. Less than 10 cars on the lead lap for the second night in a row. I think we only had 7 cars on the lead lap when that last caution came out. Race Johnson's 15-second lead. 20 to go this time by. Busch gotten into lap traffic yet? I would think so. I don't think he's that far behind us still. Yeah, 3.4 seconds. I'm shaking everybody but Busch. I mean, we got a comfortable lead, but... Again, we restarted with 77 or 78 laps left. 17 to go this time by. I mean, it's been 60 laps into this run. Third place is well off from where the race leader's at, but not second. Some of this might have been extended a little more with the lap traffic. $14 to go. Quite a bit of lap traffic just up ahead. Quarter tank of gas left, 12 to go this time by at the line. Should be plenty good to be able to make it on fuel to the finish. 4-second lead. Tony Stewart out of the race. Second night in a row, he's blown an engine. This time, luckily, we didn't have to wait till the last lap to hold our breath. In the hopes for a miracle. It's just insane. I mean, we were a lap and a half away last night from being like, well, at least we get a chance at Phoenix. To 24 hours later, well, hey, we're going to have a shot at Daytona. So, 2011 Brickyard 400 is forgotten. Paul Menard won. Yeah, I remember that one pretty well. One race that I tend to forget a lot for some reason is, and I remember the race, but David Rudiman winning at Chicagoland, like outright, like on speed. Because I always think of David Rudiman as winning the Rain Short and Coke 600 in 2009, but for some reason in my brain it doesn't wrap around him winning at Chicagoland a couple years later. I don't know like why I forget about that. It's like, oh yeah, he's won 2 Cup races. Well, chat poll just ended, 29 votes. 34% said I was going to lead 151 plus laps. It's pretty close. Eight laps to go. But yeah, it should end up leading 151 plus laps. Yeah, we'll be able to make it, no problem. We are good. Five laps left this time by. Big thing right now, fuel will make it to the end here for Jimmy Johnson. Now we just got to hope that it stays green, because Kyle Busch, he's got a sporty enough car that can maybe hang on a couple lap dash, but that will be about it. That's all he would get, though, if we got a caution now. An eighth of a tank left on gas, but 4 laps to go around a 1 mile racetrack, so should be good. It's not blinking dark red yet, so that'll give us a couple more laps when it gets to that point. I don't even know if we'll see it get that low. I think I'll have enough for a burnout, is what I'm saying. Might run out of gas during the burnout, depending on how long it is, but Kurt Busch up ahead. No more lap cars in sight for Johnson outside of Kurt Busch in the 39. 2 to go. 6-second lead. 5 wins in a row. And a shot at the championship tomorrow night at Daytona in less than 24 hours time. It's going to be a Thursday night you guys are not going to want to miss on the channel. It's going to be a goodie. White flag, 1 lap to go. We're going to finish this race off with 2 cautions tonight. 2 less than we had last night, but more than we had in the 2 races before that, where we had 1 and none. Lap 7 and right around 80 to go here tonight were the 2 cautions. Checkered flag waves. Jimmy Johnson gets yet another max points day. Another win. Here we go. Do you believe in miracles? I didn't believe in this one 2 days ago, but I'm starting to become a believer now. 16 wins. We've literally won over half the races in this 30-race season. Received the Allstate Good Hands Driver Award for the race. Like new Allstate item. Chase plates to CN. I don't know what that entails, but alright. Ryan Vickers did not finish 3rd. I actually kind of forgot about him being in 4th the last we saw. Unfortunately, he finished 7th. Gets a solid top 10, but we did not get the 1, 2, 3 finish tonight for Hendrick Motorsports. 175 of 200 laps led tonight. Led 7/8 of the race. 5 laps left for Kyle Busch. He finished in 2nd. Mark Martin led 8 laps, finishing 3rd. 1 lap left for Elliott Sadler, finishing 4th. 4 laps left for Kenny Wallace, who rounds out the top 5 and 5th. 1 lap left for Ryan Newman. And 6th, Brian Vickers. 7th was the last car to finish on the lead lap. Fantasy driver by the last name Peterson. T. Peterson finishes in 8th. They're starting deep in the field. Vickers started 38 too, so he came from pretty far back. Jeremy Mayfield finishes 9th. Mark Truex Jr. rounds out the top 10. And yeah, let's take a look here. 40th place for Tony Stewart. So I said 41st, so apparently there were... Oh, Yaley. So J.J. Yaley... Or no, it was Boyer. That's right. Okay, so Clint Boyer was involved in the caution. I guess it was lap 5. I thought it was lap 7, but... Clint Boyer blew an engine virtue of the accident, so he wrecked out. Hornaday blew a motor. Clint Boyer DNF'd with a wreck. J.J. Yaley blew an engine. And then the lap 108 moment there for Tony Stewart. He was the last driver that blew an engine. He did lead 3 laps, so he did get 5 bonus points still, which is going to be 5 more points than he scored last night when he finished 40th, because he didn't lead yesterday, but again, he led today. So now let's take a look at the point standings. I did get copyrighted for that stream last night, so I'm going to make sure I mute it this time. 100 laps under the lights at Daytona tomorrow night. Oh boy. Oh boy. We're going to have a doozy. See what the damage is. 44. Right where it all started. What are the odds that it comes to that exact moment? We were exactly 44 points back before my 3 DNFs in a row. 44 back, we had 3 DNFs in a row. We dropped to 388 back. And in the last 5 races, we've gone from 388 back down to 44 points back with 5 straight wins. And Tony Stewart DNFing each of the last 2 races. Unbelievable. Kyle Busch is not in championship contention. Stewart scored just enough points tonight to keep him out. Busch would have had to get within 156. If he would have won, that would have given him another 10 points. 168. So if he would have won, Tony Stewart wouldn't have led a lap and would have finished 41st instead of 40th. And Kyle Busch would still have a shot at the title, but that is not the case. So Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart 1-on-1 tomorrow night at Daytona for the title. And I'll do the math later tonight to see exactly how many. Well, I'll actually do it right now while we're all on stream before we leave here. So 2004 NASCAR. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Oh, format. I don't know why I put 2004. Put 06. It's a little different, but oh, it's the same thing. Never mind. I thought it was a different points increment for winning. 07 is where it went up 5 more. All right, so I'm just going to say, theoretically speaking, if I were to lead the most laps, I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow night. Honestly, I think I can lead some laps on strategy if I really had to. I would hope I can lead at least 1 lap out of 100 to get 5 bonus points. I don't think I'm going to get 10 tomorrow. Just based off the first 2 races at Daytona. I'll actually pull my Daytona stats up from earlier this season. They're not good. I led laps in both races, but not many. I think it was less than 10 in both of them. I don't have race winning cars when I go to these super speedways in the Busch series. I'm 0 for 4 this season or 0 for 5 this season on super speedways as far as getting the win, so it ain't gonna be easy. Talladega, 40th with a DNF last race, which was the start of our it was the second of 3 DNFs in a row 6 races ago. And then the second Dega race out of 3, we finished 6th. In the first Dega race, I finished 11th. So 1 top 10 in 5 super speedway races this season. My Daytona finishes 35th and 38th. But that 35th in the last one, I remember that one pretty well because it was only a few weeks ago. It was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago we ran that race. And I was pretty much running around 10th most of the day. I was like between 8th and 13th for a lot of the race. We can hope that we beat Stewart by just a few positions. Or maybe I can get a few positions better and get a top 5 out of it. Getting the win is going to be very difficult. I just don't think we're going to have a car capable. There's not really anything I could do setup wise on super speedways to really help myself either, so it is what it is. Laps led 4-2. Led 4 laps in the last Daytona race. I led 2 in the season opener there. In the first race there in the season opener, that was 120 laps, and I only led 2 that day. And then, then we led 4 of 100. So I'd like to think I could at least get 5. I've led at least 1 lap in every race this season. I didn't even realize that till just now. I led 2 at Daytona. It was the least amount of laps I've led in a race this season. Next closest was the next Daytona race where I led 4. The both Daytona races were the least amount of laps I led in a race this season. Next one, Chicagoland, I only led 5. Finished 9th there. After that, 5 also in the first Dega race where I finished 11th, so not a lot of laps led in that Dega race. The other Dega races, the most recent one we led 8 laps, and then we led 6. And honestly, that most recent Dega race is probably my best of the super speedway races we've ran, because obviously I led the most laps of any of the other ones, but it wasn't just that. Like, I was actually in the top 3 like the whole race. I was running a really good race for myself, and then we had that pit road glitch, which, I mean, we had a pit road glitch at that race. We had a pit road glitch at Dover. If it wasn't for both of those, I'd be close to clinching the title after tonight. In this season finale at Daytona, I could walk out here in the top 30 and win the title. That not the case, unfortunately. Still going to have to fight for it. But we will go down swinging. Going to give it all I got. All right, so I'm just going to assume 5 bonus points with a win, 185. I'm going to assume Tony Stewart's going to lead. So I'm just going to cancel the bonus points out. We'll factor bonus points in tomorrow, as we see who leads, whether it's me or him. And we'll kind of fluctuate it. So if we get the same amount of bonus points to get 44, 42 back to 9th. So you'd have to finish 10th or worse. So Tony Stewart will win the championship by finishing 9th or better tomorrow night. Again, no bonus points included. So if neither one of us gets bonus points or we both get 5 bonus points tomorrow, Tony Stewart has to finish 9th to win the championship. He had to finish top 5 the last 2 nights and he didn't do it. So, I mean, you never know. You never know. And it's Daytona. Like, of any track, for him to maybe get a top 10, maybe he'll finish 12th. And we can go out there, finish top 3, and get the title won. I mean, it's not impossible. By any means. Store DNFs, Jimmy needs top 10 or better. Well, I mean, we would easily win the title in that situation. If he somehow DNF'd, let's just say he finished 40th like he did the last 2 nights. If he somehow DNF'd again, he would get 43 points for finishing in 40th. We'll just say no laps led. I would just have to finish in 25th. So if he DNFs, finishes 40th or worse, I just got to finish top 25 to win the title. Assuming that bonus points are no. Qualify well on these super speedways. That's part of the problem. Like, there's nothing I can do to qualify better. My car just sucks when I'm not in the draft on super speedways. I don't qualify like poorly. Like, I'll be like borderline top 10 or just outside the top 10, but yeah, I really hope I could qualify in the top couple rows, ideally. Especially if he qualifies in the top couple rows, because if he starts on pole and just goes out and rips like the first 30 laps led before our first pit stop of the race, that'd be tough. Championship 4 would be Kyle Busch, Kenny Wallace, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson. Yeah. Well, we would have been locked into the Championship 4 sweep in the last round. Tony Stewart probably wouldn't have even made the Championship 4 considering he DNF'd in 2 of the races. If this was a playoff format, I don't even think the points leader would be in it. Honestly. There's a tie for 5th right now. JJ Yeley and Aaron Crocker are tied for 5th in points. Look at that. And our other teammate, Brian Vickers, is in 8th. He was 5th in points just a few races ago. I think he's had a couple DNFs too. I know he had one a couple races ago. Yeah, he's falling back quite a bit. Gonna be a nail biter tomorrow. Yes, it will. It's definitely gonna come down to the final couple laps. I can guarantee you that. I'm gonna do what I can to at least finish top half of the field. Like, I'm gonna give myself a fighting chance tomorrow. I just gotta stay out of trouble. That's a big thing. I always get myself into trouble in these super speedways. Stay out of trouble. It's tough when you're running mid-pack, though, like I do. That's why I keep finding myself in trouble on this season on super speedways, is because I'm running mid-pack. Don't cry tomorrow. I'm not gonna cry. But it will be the biggest comeback in channel history by way of point standings. And I don't think anything would ever top it. 388 back with 4 races to go. Get out of here. Get out of here. It was 333 with 3 races left. Like, it wasn't just 388 with 6 to go. It was 388 with 6 to go. It was 333 point lead with 3 races left. It is going to be a fight. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, Daytona, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard start time. Eastern Daylight Time start time. EDT. See you tomorrow, everybody.